Apes and apettes, welcome back to the channel. Is Ken Griffin leaving America, running from his problems to a country that will not extradite him back to America? It's very weird, and you have to put on a tinfoil hat, but I think a lot of the things that we're going to go over here in this video suggest that he is running from something. And there is one detail in particular that makes absolutely no sense that I want your guys' opinions on down below in the comment section. Make sure to leave your comment on this video, leave your like on the video, and subscribe to the channel as well if you have not already. We're going to get into this whole situation, and I don't want to waste any more time. But the sponsor of this video is yours truly. If you guys are interested in trading options and you need somewhat of a mentor, it is never financial advice, but we have been doing incredibly well over there. We hit the Facebook puts, $64 into $3,000 per contract. We also hit Ford puts, which was 150%, and Snapchat, which was about $160 into $800 per contract. That was all last week. So if you guys want access to that, ask me questions, chat over there, check that out pinned in the top comment. But that is not nearly as important as what we're going to get into here in this video right now. So I do, first off, we're going to look at that. That is Ken Griffin's plane. And we're going to talk about that in just 1 second. Hold your horses. I know you guys want to hear exactly what I want to say, but I want to go over the background behind what I am about to say, because that is very important. Now, I do first off want to start with something you guys probably all know. That warehouse that mysteriously caught fire and the sprinklers stopped working. Yes, that warehouse, if you guys are unfamiliar, holds because it's non-existent anymore, TD Ameritrade's legal documents, as well as a lot of other companies' legal documents, and the whole thing burned to the ground. The firefighters, they didn't even try to put it out after the first half an hour or so. They just let it burn because there was nothing they could do. It was that bad. And apparently, the sprinkler system failed. And you would think it's very important to not have your sprinkler system fail, to have backstops to keep your data safe, keep your information safe. By all means, it's a warehouse for this kind of thing, for data. You do not want to lose that. That is very, very, very important. Companies pay millions and billions of dollars for data every single day, mine and your data included. So very strange. We can't make any direct conclusions to this fire and AMC. But as we get further into this video, you will see why this is so concerning and definitely something to pay attention to. And just so you guys are aware, here is the picture of the address and all of the information. Pause the video if you guys want to. These are two conjoined pictures took from this post on Reddit, which is confirmed. I confirm this. It's the address of the building that burned down, as well as TD Ameritrade confirming that that's where their documents were to be stored. Now, I do want to move on to the DOJ probe, and what is stealing the headlines is Andrew Left and Citron Research. And what you guys may or may not know, I'm sure you already know this, is that Citron has decided to start only making long reports, not making short reports anymore. And I'm sure you guys already know this as well, that earlier in 2021, Citron and Andrew Left actually had their equipment seized by the FBI. So we're just now getting this information, but this has actually been going on for a while. I would imagine around the same time they started to pivot into producing these long reports on good companies rather than these short reports. But something that is not being talked about too much in the ape community is just how many people are involved in this situation, with a couple very notable names that also is a cause for concern. So we have Hindenburg Research, Visery Research, Melvin Capital Management, and Gabe Plotkin, the founder and owner of Melvin Capital Management. Other firms looked at include Carisdale Capital Management, Orso Partners, and Sophos Capital Management. And other firms the probe reported by various news outlets include Toronto-based Anson Funds, Adam Investors, Bontis Research, Citron Research, Connective Capital Management, Falcon Research, Geo Investing, Gotham City Research, Grizzly Rock Capital, J Capital Research, Marcus Aurelius Value, Muddy Waters Capital, Oasis Management, Park West Nest Asset Management, QKM, Sabri Point Capital Management, Silverado Capital, Spruce Point Capital Management, Valiant Capital Management, and White Diamond Research. So some very notable names there that have ties in the past to AMC. And we do know that Ken Griffin lied under oath about the communication between Citadel himself and Robinhood directly during the trading frenzy in January 2021. He lied under oath. That is a fact. And we do know, just to refresh your memories on the conversation the top executives at Robinhood had with Citadel, goes like this. January 27th, Robinhood said, anecdotal evidence that several very large firms are having really bad nights too. Jim Stewart, also a Robinhood top executive, says everyone is. You wouldn't believe the convo we had with Citadel. Total mess. Now, they go on to say in these conversations that essentially they're trying to figure out a solution. And there's a lot of these messages. I don't want to get too carried away with that. I'm sure you guys, it sparked your memory and you remember these conversations. If you don't, quick Google search will get you guys caught up to date. Now, what has been going on, in my personal opinion, with this whole entire situation is the fact that Citadel controls the markets. So how does it work if you're thinking about connection to AMC, to Citadel, to short sellers, and just, bad research reports that come out from time to time on AMC and other stocks? Keep in mind, I don't think this is just an AMC thing exclusively. I think this happens a lot in the broad markets. And I want to break this down very clearly for everybody to understand. So when a short seller report comes out, when there is bad news on a company, whatever the case is, right? Citadel, being the person they are, being a market maker's job is to provide liquidity to the buy side and the sell side of stock and options to make sure that you can always go into the markets and buy a stock or sell a stock if it is on a lit exchange. Penny stocks are a little bit different when stocks only have a couple thousand shares that trade hands any given day. It doesn't follow the same lines here, but that's what a market maker's job is, and Citadel, being the largest market maker, that is their job. Now, the possible connection and collusion here would be, say, hey, when Iceberg Research, just for an example, they're an easy target, published their short report on AMC, they had a little word with Citadel and said, hey, flood the markets with millions of shares once this report comes out to drop the stock. And that's really the extent of the collusion that happens. By doing that, they drive down the share price, and then ultimately people are sheeps, right? Everybody says buy low, sell high. The stock market is the only place, or only sale, I should say, that people don't line up for. So when a stock drops, people instinctively go to sell, which continues to drive the share price down. So on that first candle, you start freaking out, you start selling your stock, and then the stock ultimately does bounce after that, right? That's the logic here. Citadel starts the fire, just like we seen at the warehouse. This is an analogy. And then the gasoline is poured on it by people that get freaked out and start to sell. So it doesn't always take millions of shares to cause this move, depending on what the volume is like on any given day or what the report is, the bullshit report that comes out. You can drop a stock in a substantial way sometimes with just a couple 100,000 shares that are sold to the sell side. And then Citadel, in theory, would go out and hedge that position, and all is fine, all is dandy for Citadel, and I'm sure they get a kickback for doing so. And this is a major investigation that is going on. This is not like your average DOJ probe. These are some high flyers that are having their equipment seized. I mean, the FBI, everybody involved with this, the SEC, they know exactly what has been going on. The problem with this is, and I'm going to be straight up and honest and transparent with you guys. The problem with coming out and saying this person did that and this person did that with such a large and elaborate scheme like this is, it underpins the reliability of the American stock market. And that is the last thing the FBI, Citadel, or not Citadel, but the SEC want to happen, or Citadel for that matter. Nobody wants that news to come out. Nobody. Because other investors, large institutional investors that had no idea this was going on, imagine that. I'm sure there's some people out there that didn't know this was going on, or worldwide investors that plow money into the American stock market because it is deemed as not as risky, not as manipulated compared to your Brazilian market or your Australian markets or Japanese markets or Chinese markets. That's a big problem. And that's not information that they want to lead out to the public. And finally, what I really, really want to talk to you guys about, and this is what makes this all so weird. I'm just going to call it weird. I can't draw any red lines here. I can't say for a fact this is happening or this is not happening because we just don't have that kind of information. So nobody can tell you that at this current moment. But when you look at Citadel and Ken Griffin's plane, he went from Chicago, stopped in the UK, and now is in Finland. Now, before we go any further, I want to say this must be taken with a tinfoil hat. There is nothing to say this is going to be definitive or not, if this is actually fact or not. So I want to put that out there. I don't know if it is correct or not, but hear the logic that I am providing to you guys. So we are seeing Ken Griffin went to Finland. It's not very common that he goes to Finland. Now, Finland laws state that you cannot be extradited to any country, not the United States, not the UK, not anywhere, unless you are convicted of a crime. If you are a murderer, you're convicted, and you're waiting sentencing out on bond, and you flee to Finland, they will come get your ass and send you back to the United States. It does say in their law, in Finland law, that it does vary from case to case, whether it is, something like murder or manipulation or something along those lines. But if you're not convicted of a crime, or there's not evidence to directly support that you are guilty, or if you cannot obtain a warrant, they will not extradite you to the United States. So that's out there. He really has no chance of getting extradited to the United States. Now, it's very hard to actually catch manipulation on a scale like this. Why? Because they use omnibus accounts. They don't use accounts with their name in them. It's very hard to track down and trace what account did the manipulation and who that is back to. It's a long loophole of a spider web that is too hard to follow, and certainly most of the time too hard to prosecute. Like it says right here, manipulation is difficult to catch. And Citadel, they've been doing this for a while. We know there's been manipulation with Citadel. They're the largest market maker. They facilitate the trading that goes on with manipulations, and also, in my personal opinion, partake in those manipulations. But like I said, they use different accounts, so it's very hard to prove. So Ken Griffin has really no chance of getting extradited back to the United States. Now, Ken Griffin actually landed in Finland about 2 days ago. So why is he going to Finland during the most volatile time in the markets in over 2 years? You would think he would be running his hedge fund. This is not the time to go on vacation during the most volatile period in 2 years, if not longer than that. You really have to go back to 2018 through 2019 to get this back and forth whipsaw market that you're seeing right now. In 2020, the markets went straight down, they hit a bottom, and then they went back up. There was really no bouncing around. The markets hit a bottom March 23rd. They recovered by June. March, April, May, June. Now, they were recovering ever since that March bottom, but it was more straight line down, straight line back up, a V-shape recovery. What you're seeing right now is the worst January, almost the worst January you have ever seen in the history of the stock market. And that's what really throws me off. Why are you going to Finland on a Wednesday night? Once the headlines really start to hit the news, once we're getting word of, Citron Research, Andrew Left, having his computers seized, I'm sure testifying to what he knows, giving his statements, and now you're fleeing to Finland? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and that's really the part of this puzzle that I cannot wrap my brain around. Why are you going to Finland when you should be managing your fund during the most volatile period in probably the last 4 years now? I would say the last 4 or 5 years now. So let me know your guys' thoughts on that. I wanted to put this information out to you guys. I like to put on a tinfoil hat. Does that always mean things are going to be correct? No. Does that mean things are wrong? Certainly not as well. Only time will tell. But like I said, we may never know because the SEC, the FBI, nobody in government or anybody with any political power whatsoever wants to have a question that the American stock market is underpinned and there's rampant manipulation going around everywhere. So that is going to be all for this video. Hit that like button for me, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you guys have not already. Hit that comment section and let me know what you guys think about this. Why is he going to Finland during the most volatile period in the last 4 or 5 years? That part, I just can't stress that enough. Does not make any sense to me when you should be managing your hedge fund. Also, if you guys want access to all of my trades in real time, as well as join a great trading community, check that link out as well, pinned in the top comment. Love and appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you in the next one.